Alright, so I'm working on figuring out a cheap way to make good quality rack systems for ball pythons and other snakes that require similar needs. So, you want to be able to provide humidity when needed. Not too much. You don't want any scale rot occurring, anything like that. You don't want any respiratory infection issues, which could also occur, I'm sorry, when the bedding's also too dry. So you want to be able, this is a good thing to wake up to, but you don't want the humidity causing condensation any higher than that. I think this is probably about perfect. I'd say between 60 and 70% humidity. But anyway, so I just wanted to show that this is how I'm doing my economy racks. I'm buying these $70 cheap PVC garage storage units, and I like the 21 deep or 24-inch deep by 36-inch long, and that gives you an 18-inch exactly gap here, which is perfect for if you wanted to have larger tubs, like say this one right here is a 52 quart. These things would slide in and out perfectly because they're 18 inches wide and they fit like a glove. And again, these Sterlite works best with these storage shelves because they're built to hold this type of, I keep wanting to say the scientific words, so, this type of tub. So Sterlite is like one of the most recommended among all tubs. I'm not a huge fan of them because they don't have flat bottoms, and I'd like the bottom to be able to evenly, to lay evenly on the heat tape, because I don't know, I just think when it's raised up, you're not getting the exact reading that the thermostat's reading. And I have a 4-level system going on here. The bottom level only has Leo on it right now, and he's in the back. He's the only adult male on this rack. Now, I would love to know from people out there, is that going to mess with him because of all the females? They're not considered adults yet, but they're considered sub-adults. So he's been eating like clockwork, which I thought he was a goner from not wanting to eat for so long. And he sprang back recently, so that's a great thing. And it's good because he's my first snake that I bought when I decided I wanted to start doing this again, because I used to do this way back in the early 2000s when I was a kid, and it wasn't no professionality whatsoever back then. I think I even let the snake incubate the eggs themselves and stuff like that, which, I later found out was not the best way to go about it. It's actually better to remove the eggs. It helps the mother snake get back into the swing of life faster. It takes a lot of energy for a mother snake to incubate her own eggs, and if you do it that way, I've heard you're lucky if you get one breed out of them, and I don't want that. So anyway, this is the new rack I'm working on right now. I decided that I'm not gonna cut it like how I have this one, which, forgive me for the mess. It's trashed in here because I just got so many deliveries recently, and I'm working by myself right now. So just please bear with it. I promise I'm not a scumbag. It just looks like it. So I also picked up these 2 wrap bins, the extra large wrap bins, which are 2 for $89.99 right now at Reptile Basics, by the way. And I ordered these, and they were here in less than 5 days. Everything. The heat tape, which was pre-wired, which was super cheap. And you can also ask them to do specific things for you. They don't like I even asked them about lateral wiring to try and, to do like a zigzag formation, so I'd only need one thermostat to power the whole rack. But I figured, screw it, I'll buy some nice, double outlet thermostats, and then that way I can run a four shelf rack on two thermostats. And so far, it's been about a week. It's fantastic. I love using the heat tape. As you could see before, it's just, I was using so many heat pads. It was just heat pad, heat pad, heat pad. And those, I don't like them. They malfunction easily. I've actually lost a snake, a very beautiful snake that I got from Lucas Landon Royals, and it really breaks my heart to tell this story, but I don't like to be dishonest with my viewers. I think, what's the point of taking you guys along on the journey if you don't get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly, So, yeah, totally forgot what I was talking about. Dang. Yeah, ADHD's a bitch. But anyway, yeah, I'm happy I got these bins. Hopefully the thought I was having earlier comes back while I'm talking. Right now I'm just doing ASFs, and it's great because the food that I feed these guys is finer than, the average Missouri that people like, Missouri rodent feed that people like to feed their rodents. Now that's fine, perfectly fine to feed that and only that to regular rats, or as me and my partner call them, Reggie rats. So the only problem is the food I feed them, it's got seeds in it and mealworms and all kinds of goody goodness in it, and it kind of just falls right through the holes. So it's not exactly made for that. It's got these nice flaps here that kind of separate things off. You have two spots. Here's an empty one that shows you got two spots for water intake. If you want, you can buy the bottles like I did. And since I'm just doing a small scale thing just to keep ASFs on hand for my picky guys and gals, so I figured I originally bought these to breed regular Reggie rats, and I just figured I'll try it out first with the ASFs. They love it. They really like all the ventilation that they get with this. It's way better than a tank or a tub with chicken wire on the sides and stuff, because you're just asking for escapes there. And I live in an apartment complex, and I'm lucky I'm allowed to even have these animals. So the last thing I want to do is make it possible for these guys to escape and get me in trouble. So that's the rule. As long as they stay in their cages, I get one warning, and that's it. If it comes to it, that's it. I'm no longer allowed to have living rodents in my apartment. And, so I keep these guys on lock, and these are very nice cages. And like I said, right now, they're the extra large ones, which the website says this, but I will say this to you as well. Do not buy these for mice. As you can see, the water bottles have pretty short nubs, and they are pretty short nipples, or whatever you'd call that, and it's kind of high in some places. So once they start having babies, I'm going to have to find a way to make it so that the babies can reach the water once they get weaned enough to be able to start, drinking more and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, so these are fantastic. I love them. Like I said, you get two of them for $89.99. They're huge. I think they're 7 inches high. Don't quote me on this. I'm guessing from memory. I think they're 7 inches high, 18 wide, and 21 long. So yeah, they're big, and they're nice and robust, and the tops are great, and they clip on perfectly fine, and I feel very confident that I don't have to worry about any escape issues, any chewing issues with them, chewing through the plastic in any way. You can even put a wheel in there if you want to build more muscle in your feeders, but I like more fat than muscle. I don't know. I'm just weird. Maybe that's what everybody wants. I don't know. I'm not really following exactly what everybody else is doing to the T. I'm kind of just doing it how I want to do it. I know how it needs to be done. So I've just been coming up with my own ways to do things, and it's been working like a charm lately. So yeah, the ASFs are doing fantastic. These are my main mamas here. They actually are humongoid. Hey, mama. Like, look at how big this girl is. And I don't like holding them by their tails when they're that big because it can hurt their backs. But yeah, I want to give them a good quality of life while they're alive because we all know why I have them. The only people who don't, well, the only things you don't know why I have them is them. So I just figure, I'm the one that has to gas them and put them down and freeze them and stuff like that. And it's just a way to kind of justify it in my heart so that I don't feel so bad. But in the end, I'm doing what I have to do to make sure that my snakes are healthy and have what they need. And again, these guys are just for picky eaters. I bought both of these originally for breeding, like I said, regular feeder rats. And that's what this size is meant for. This is the largest size they carry. So you could also do ASFs in a mouse enclosure, but I still recommend more space the better for any rodent, really, because it just makes them happier. It makes it easier for them to run around and play. ASFs live in colonies. They're very tight-knit, close colonies, and so having them be able to live together like this in a beautiful, well-ventilated cage, I'm so happy. I love it. I'm glad. And shout out to Rep Royal Python Cove for recommending these to me because I had no idea that these even existed until I saw them over there, and they were like, yeah, and told me where to get them, and so I'm finally glad to get my hands on them. I want to try and stock up on them whenever I have, a spare $100 to throw around. But I think just the two right now will be fine. This one will be for the regular rats, and then this one will be for the ASFs for now. But yeah, and now back to the regular snake rack. So what I have here is I got THG brand heat tape, and the only issue here is the rack itself. You're losing a lot of heat because there's holes in it. You can see my fingers poking through and stuff like that. So there's nothing underneath to kind of support the heat, which I might fix that later on if I can get this aluminum tape off. But when this stuff's stuck, it's stuck. But it's looking nice. It's doing its job. As you can see, there's condensation, where it should be on the bottom. You don't want your snakes laying on wet bedding, that's for sure. So the best thing to do is spray when you do want to increase the humidity. You want to just do the back. You can do the whole edges all the way around if you want, but just go light. But you could just, if you want to, just do the back where the heat source is. And when you shoot it down the side, on the side, it runs down the side down to the bottom, and then it wets the bottom of the substrate, leaving the top semi-dry, at least enough to be safe. And it's also on top of a heat source, so it's going to evaporate, stick to the top, and then come back down. And that happens inside the hide as well. That's why in a lot of the videos you've seen, there's a lot of fluid inside the hides when I open them, because that humidity is rising and it's hitting the top of the hide and then condensating and building up, and it just pours out once it's disturbed. But anyway, I have, like I said, I have 2 double thermostats, 2 for one per two shelves. So I got my one shelf here. Now again, this heat tape I bought pre-wired. I got 4 strips of 36-inch or 3-foot THG heat tape pre-wired. And they also sent extra little rubber insulators to put on the other end of the copper bus bars, because there's little copper strips that run on the sides that heat up these black bars, and those are exposed on the other end. And I think they leave them unexposed just in case you need to trim it down. So that's really smart thinking ahead, and I'm glad they did that. But yeah, this stuff is so good. I love it. It's so evenly heated. I can't believe I wasted so much money, time, and effort on messing with heat mats when you can do this. You know, it's very clean, simple, and it works. Like, that's really all I can say is it works. And the cool thing about this is when I was using the heat pads, I would have to turn these thermostats up to like a good 106 to 109 degrees just to get the internal temperature on the hotspot to reach 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And that was insane. That's a lot of power, you know, constantly running it up that high. And now, look how it's set. That's the shutoff. 94 is the high. So it's set to 93 on the bottom 2 levels. And then on the top 2, it's set to 96. And that's just because the babies have a lot more substrate in their enclosures. But so far, I think I'm doing really well. I still would love to get into a topless rack, but this works so well. I don't see the need for it until I start having more animals. I can see the need where it's easier to just pull out the drawer, do your spot cleaning, do your full clean, whatever you need to do, feed the snakes, and then slide it shut, and you're done. These guys, you gotta pop it open, lift the lid, you know, do your rat dance and all that when it's feeding and stuff like that. Or if you need to, you still need to take them all the way out sometimes if you really want to get a good look inside to make sure it's clean when you're doing spot cleaning. So in the end, it makes it easier than the old rack, the one that I had cut down originally, and they were really like these 28 quarts, which also, like I said, fit perfectly in the 24 by 36 garage storage, heavy duty storage units. And you can find them between $60 to $120 depending on the brand, the store, and the materials used. I think I paid about $70 for this rack, just the unit itself, not including the heat and all that. The 4 heat strips, they were $7.50 each, and these are 36 inches, so that's 3 feet for $7.50, and they send you, it's already pre-wired and riveted. You don't have to do any of that crap. You know, you can if you want to, but it's just easier to get it this way. And then that's it. They just send it out to you. And here's the thing. I was so hesitant to actually order from Reptile Basics because I got them confused with a different reptile website that really is well known for taking absurd amounts of time to send things out to people. I don't know if I mentioned it, but this got to me either 3 or 5 days after I ordered it. And I ordered the heat tape, the rat bins, the water bottles for the rat bins, all that stuff all at once. So I'm just really happy with the outcome. It's working fantastic. I'm excited to see where things are going to go from here. And right now we're just beefing up our girls, getting them nice and ready to would hopefully have eggs this time next year. That's our goal. We want to have eggs this time next year. So we're a little bit nervous. We're wondering. My partner was wondering. Well, I've done this before, but it was a long time ago, and I didn't have access to an incubator and all that, and it didn't turn out as well as I'd hoped. But now that I'm a lot more knowledgeable and I'm older and I have access to things that I didn't when I was a teenager, I'm hoping that I can do this, at least the semi-right way. I do things very, very crap chic, as Outreach Reptiles would say. But I'll tell you one thing, it is functional. And this is proof that you don't need to go out and buy $1,000 Freedom Breeder racks right off the bat as soon as you decide you want to get into the ball python or any type of snake breeding, business or hobby, because it's just important, because it's very expensive, or they make you think it's very expensive to get into it, and it can be if you don't know people that are willing to work with you to help you find the animals that you really want, and help you out with price. Like I just I got lucky meeting really nice people who were able to guide me in the right direction and really hooked me up, like Lucas Landon Royals, Kai over there. He's a great guy, and he always responds to my text whenever I have a question or concern, and he never makes it seem like I'm bothering him, and that's amazing. Not many people are like that these days. They want to keep to themselves. They don't want to be bothered by other breeders as much as they used to. It's not how it was, where people were boosting each other up and trying to get more people into breeding. I think it's kind of turning into the opposite. I think people are trying, there's so many morphs and things have been so perfected now, and there's so many new things coming out now, and combos and things like that, aka quote-unquote designer snakes. I'm not a fan of that term, but hey, that's what most people recognize it as, so who am I to argue? But anyway, sorry if I'm talking in circles. My bipolar's not doing too well today, so if there's anything that I might have missed, any questions or concerns, tips, anything, I'm all ears. If it looks like I'm doing something wrong, please let me know, because I'm still learning, and I am always open to any type of criticism, as long as it's not vulgar and inappropriate. So there you go. That's the new rack that I got set up right now, and this has every snake that I have in my possession on it. We have 2 other males at my buddy's house, Cooley and Bumblebee, and yeah, we even decided which ones we wanted to pair up for our first attempt and everything. I'm gonna keep that one a secret though until we know for sure, but I really hope this video wasn't annoying and there was some form of entertainment. Let's take a look at Big Fat X-Ray. He ate a small frozen thawed regular rat yesterday. Yeah, look at him in all his glory. That yellow belly is just nuts. But yeah, he's by far the most friendliest, outgoing snake I've ever had. I've never had a snake that purposely crawled out of its enclosure and crawls into your hand from the enclosure on its own. That's the first time I've experienced it, at least. And then let's take a look at Hancock. I think she even ate a big, I think she had a big normal ASF, or normal lab rat, or a small, but it's big for them. So There she is. And then Luffy, he's the one who I did get him to eat a small Reggie rat on his last meal, and I think he's a little bit pissed because I kind of tricked him into eating it, and now ever since then he's just keeping to himself. But he has put on weight. He's not feeling feathery light like he was. He was giving me a little bit of a scare for a while because he was being a picky eater, which I've noticed a lot of het pieds are. This is a VPI exanthic het piebald, and he's pushing 400 grams. He's getting close. I'd say he's probably about 310. So, you know, he's still got a little ways to go, but he'll get there quick. But he just needs to eat more, that's all. And he's doing alright with it. He's struggling. He likes to strike at his food rather than grab it and coil up on it, but eventually he'll usually take it. But yeah, figured I'd show you guys at least the 3 babies, how they're doing. This has been a long video, so hopefully, you know, it lets me upload it without any issues, and I hope that if anybody has any questions, concerns, tips, tricks, anything, that I hear from you. So everybody have a great day. God bless. Merry Christmas. Happy Easter. 4th of July.